Hey everyone, this is Swati from the Purple Flower, and I'm with my buddy Sue Fitzmaurice from the famous Facebook page, Sue Fitzmaurice Author. I'm sure most of you already know her and you already know about her page. And today I'm going to be interviewing her about something that really inspires me, and I often talk about her with my clients because she's a person who actually stuck to her dream and she made it happen. And I really like her story so much. I think about it often and it inspires me and makes me feel good. And I want to interview her for you all so that you can also know that you can do it. It's not something out of reach. You can actually, all you need to do is stick to your focus and not give up. Right. Hey Sue, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Swati. Hello.
Hi. Everybody already knows you, so I don't think there's much to say.
Oh, good. Oh, well, shall I tell you that it's Wednesday. Wednesday morning, it's grey. It's near the end of winter. There's blossom on the fruit trees outside, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
fortunately.
end of winter, which is
End of winter,
end
which
of
always
summer
seems
here.
so long. It seems so long to get to the end of winter, but yay, we're nearly there.
And it's almost the end of the time when you can start traveling and fulfilling your
I
dreams.
know. So
Mhm.
exciting. Yeah, very exciting.
So tell me, Sue, what is it? What exactly was your dream? I know it, but I want you to say it to them. I met Sue in 2013, end of 2013, and I was beginning to get to know her and started talking to her really in 2014, which is when she told me about her dream. And today it's fulfilled, it's done. So, what was your dream?
Sure. Well, so I suppose I suppose I should say there's kind of two parts to it. Well, because one is actually finding out what I was supposed to be doing.
The most
Um,
important.
yeah, what my purpose was. And then there was kind of the other part of the dream was the sort of conditions under which I wanted to live, that I wanted to manifest in my life, about how I lived and how much money I had and all that kind of thing. And the unfolding of those two things did happen kind of simultaneously. So it's been the last few years that I've got clearer on understanding that my purpose is to help others with their purpose.
Hmm.
Um, and that and really seeing so clearly when I look back on my life how in fact that's been such a huge part of everything that I've ever done, whatever job I've been in, whatever work I've always done. One of the things, regardless of what the actual job is, one of the things that I always have done is I talk to people about what they want to achieve, how I can help them get there. I've been in a number of positions where I've been the boss, or I've been an external consultant that's come in to work with the business. And naturally, it's something I've always done.
Hmm.
And it's something that, staff that I've had have always really appreciated. I remember one time, every year you have to do people's performance appraisals, and they'll
Hmm.
come in and they'll sit down and they'll be so nervous. And I spend the whole time talking to them about what they want, and they go out feeling 10 foot tall because I've sort of helped them to find their way. And there's nothing people love more than to find their way. It's
Yes.
the most wonderful thing for all of us, even if we haven't even thought about what it is, even if we've never even thought about the idea that we have a purpose or that we need to find out what our purpose is. When someone points you in the right direction in your life, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, and it's such a wonderful experience.
Suddenly life is worthwhile.
Yeah, and we spend our whole lives doing that. It's not that you get to, this one singular purpose and that's the end of
Hmm.
the story and that's what you do for the rest of your days. Everything's always evolving, but of course it gets clearer and clearer. And then, you take different diversions. So the thing was to get clear about that. And so that became really clear for me the last few years. And one of the things that really helped in that was connecting with you, and my first angel reading with you, which was about was maybe 18 months ago or 15
Hmm.
months ago, something like that. And incredible recognition at this person who was my particular guardian angel, who you and I call James Bond.
Yes.
And there's a whole long story about that. But I recognized the reality of this this person in my spiritual life, and he was very clarifying for me, along with all kinds of other things. But that was a signature moment for me, was that experience with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the bits of advice he's given me since then, of course, via you. So then
with a very straight face. Always
with a very straight face. Yeah, he's incredibly serious.
No, I think I really suspect he does that just to bug me, because I keep wondering, why does he have to be so serious? I think he does that just like that. I don't know if he's really serious.
I think he's got a very dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and so then the other thing that was happening alongside that was, my two children, my teenagers, are at that point where they're leaving home. And I'm not quite sure how I know what happened. So 3 years ago, there was a bunch of page owner friends who met for a long weekend in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them were American, but I came in from New Zealand, and Stacey Phillips from Fresh Minds Matter came in from London, and we had the most hilarious weekend. And at the end of that, I went down to visit a beautiful mess inside, Gail Luster in Texas. And Gail was setting about building her online business. And I thought, and this is about October 3 years ago, and I was thinking, this is what I need to do. I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of was so obvious to me in that moment when I was there with her and staying in Dallas. And I came home and I talked to my daughter, who would have been 14 at the time. I said, I think I really want to do this, and let's go traveling next year. Because I knew somehow or other, I had this idea that she and I needed to, I don't know quite how I got to that actually. Mm-hmm. But at any rate, I built some kind of an online business. Wasn't the business that I have now, but it was sufficient to support Ruby and I to travel for most of the following year. And she took the year out of school. We had a couple of months in Australia. We went through America, the UK, a little bit of Europe and the Middle East. And we almost ran out of money on several occasions. It was a bit touch and go, but we got back, and I thought, okay, I need to do better than this. Mm-hmm. I need to build a better online business. But in the meantime, I need something else to sustain me. Now, in my past career, I've been in senior management and very sort of high-flying, stressful kinds of jobs that I was really clear I didn't want to be in anymore, and hadn't been in for some years, was not interested in going there. I thought, I need something that is 20 hours a week, that uses all of my management skills, but is not going to stress me out. That's kind of in the community, low-key, but it's real work, as I like to put it. Real work with real people with real problems. And so I got this job working for a company that looked after profoundly intellectually disabled people in homes, community homes that had 3 or 4 or 5 people living in them within the community that I lived in. It was absolutely perfect. And so it was just enough to kind of pay the bills. It was a bit of a struggle to start with. And then I slowly built this business. And the main focus was around developing a course on purpose and finding your purpose. Mm-hmm. And there's various other bits to that. So I'd previously written a novel. I've since written a non-fiction about purpose. About a year or 18 months ago, I built a course on healing depression with Sarah McCrum called The Journey. But the main purpose course is still the kind of sustaining element. That's sort of, the bread and butter, as it were. And there's various other little bits that I do. I do some coaching, all of which I really enjoy, and all of which is very easy and very straightforward and very much about my purpose. So by early this year, I was definitely at the point where I could have quit my job and done this full time. But one thing I was really clear about was I'm not going to do that until I'm making that much more that I'm not worried, because I had understood that if I worried about money, I wouldn't make as much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was really, really an important understanding about my relationship with money. And one of the people that's really helped me with my understanding about my relationship with money is Catherine Yarbrough, who does this work with money as well. And so all of those things combined, I got to that point where I thought, okay, I'm going to keep this going. So the last sort of 6 months has been a little bit stressful because my 20 hours went up to 30 hours. And I was intensely working on my own business. So it was quite intense. So literally as of last week, I no longer have that job. I decided that I was going to leave that 3 months ago. And
I know, and it's been how many? I think 18 months back is when you had first expressed this wish to leave the job, and today it's done.
Yeah. And sort of the timing with that also was that Ruby finishes high school this year. Yeah. And we had always been clear that by the time we got to the end of this year, we might sort of stay in New Zealand for this summer, which we are going to do, but then we would be leaving again and traveling again. With a kind of open sort of ended whatever, she might go to university eventually or whatever, but her whole kind of being is about traveling and seeing the world and experiencing it, and even more so than mine, really. But I love to visit all of these different friends all around the world. So I definitely had this 2-year time frame that I had to have it up and running and doing really well by the end of this year. So I'm a few months, ahead of my target. And it's really good because this is, she's heading into her exams and everything, and it's such an intense time for her. So I feel really good that I'm totally available for her as well,
Yeah. And what I really liked about your hitting your goal is that you're making 3 times more than what you earned in your job without giving away the numbers. It's 3 times.
It varies. Yeah. I mean, usually I make
4 times more than what you made in a regular job. And I
was a very regular job. Yeah, it was not a high-paid job. It was pretty regular, and I made.
But it was good. It was good.
Twice. Sometimes I make 3 or 4 times. I mean, it's up and down.
Yeah, it's business.
But that's okay. But I have no debt, and I have money saved.
Yes.
And we've bought some of our tickets already. So.
And you're actually doing it. You're actually earning that much, doing things that you really like doing. I know how much you love working on your Facebook page. You really enjoy that, and it shows with the results that you really, really enjoy doing that. You do that, and that is what has been the cornerstone of your marketing and success, isn't it?
It has been, and that's really interesting how that happened, because I had never understood that 5 years ago when I started. And it is about 5 years ago that I first started an earlier page that I'd had. And I kind of started it at that time. I just finished my novel, and I thought, I need to kind of create some kind of audience. I'll start a Facebook page, because I'd seen that some people had been very successful with Facebook pages and growing them. And within a few weeks of starting my Facebook page, it quickly turned into something that really had nothing to do with my novel, but had to do with talking about what people wanted in their lives and what was going on in the world. It was more political in that way back then too. I've realised since then I don't bother with that now. You get too many people upset about things. But so that's kind of had a life of its own, and I felt like I was kind of working for my page, really, not that my page was working for me.
Yeah.
Except now that it does too, in the sense, so it's kind of, I have, like, my page is separate from me. It's like I have this mutually beneficial relationship with the Facebook
You do. You do.
And in the process of doing that, I met all of these other page owners they're so interesting, and they've all got their wonderful dreams, and some of us have worked together on things. and there's just been this wonderful international collaboration, which I also love. I love seeing that I've introduced two page owners to each other and they've started a project together. I think, wow, that's incredibly exciting for me, that I connect people together.
Yeah. That was another thing you had told me when I was asking you, what is it, that your purpose is? And you said you want to connect people, you want to bring people together. Then you talk
Yeah,
about purpose. So in I would see this fulfilling of your dreams as in steps. First part was getting clarity on what
yeah,
your purpose was.
yeah.
And second was, what I saw you doing was you'd never wavered from it. You stuck to it. You
Well,
really did.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that was
It's
really,
really interesting because, and I think because it really, really is my purpose, and I was so clear on it
yeah.
that I had no need to waver from it. I was doing something that I liked, I
Mm-hmm.
loved, and it was fulfilling. Of course, it's had plenty of moments of frustration as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes,
Facebook can be a strange world.
it can be.
People can be very strange,
They can be
but
very strange, very stressful. You meet
yeah,
all kinds of people, that's true. But
yeah.
I really like that you did not let it get you down ever. Yes,
Oh,
I
there
saw
was
you
the odd
stressed.
moment.
I would see you stressed at times. I've been your friend for a while, so I've seen your ups and downs. But what I liked was that you did not give up. You did not give up
Um,
on your dreams. You stuck to it and you stayed with it.
well, it's funny because it kind of it's become me. You know, like I don't see it as a separate thing from me. My dream.
Mhm.
I am my dream. I'm
Yes.
doing my dream.
Hmm.
It's an
I like
interesting.
that. I am my dream.
I am my dream.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, often, like sometimes I think, you know, something a bit shitty will happen in a day, and I think, oh God, and then I have to stop and think, my life is so good. I'm so doing, like, I have these wonderful children. I live in this gorgeous little cottage, and I live in a wonderful country, and I like all these things. And so that is another huge. That was for me also a huge part of the journey
It
was
is. It is. I've
learning
seen you
that
that
gratitude.
always said, despite the stress, despite the ups and downs, and despite saying you're stressed at times, you always came back and said, but my life is really good. And
Yeah,
you didn't say it just because it should be said, but because you truly recognize what is good in your life and you gave gratitude for it. You felt gratitude for it. And we've seen how well that works. Gratitude and
mm,
focusing on what is good in our life actually really does help so much. It really works like magic.
yeah,
And it did in your case.
yeah,
You made it
absolutely.
happen. It didn't really happen immediately, did it? It took you some time to build this up.
Yeah, it's one interesting because, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, you see on Facebook memes for the last few years is the importance of being grateful, and I'm like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
And then
me too.
okay, yeah, okay, I'll give that a go.
Me too, me too. Even I was like, yeah, whatever, so boring.
And then I really started to understand how it made my life better by being grateful. I was happier. Like if I have a moment now where I feel a bit low, I just think, you know, just move your thinking to being grateful, and it switches.
Hmm.
It's, I mean, it takes practice, but then now I can do that pretty quickly.
It does take practice, and that's what
Yeah,
I do with my clients. Like your purpose is to help people find their purpose. I like people to be happy. So get rid of their stress, help them with their depression or whatever. But this is one of the biggest tools I have seen with because it worked with me.
yeah,
Gratitude.
yeah,
Writing my gratitude journal, I used to think it must be so boring, but then I saw how fast things change with it. You just stick to it and keep
yeah,
doing it. And that retraining of mind, retraining of the way you think. When you
yeah,
catch yourself thinking something negative, you have enough things good also going on in your life that you can focus your thoughts on.
yeah.
And I saw you doing it. You were like, or if you're studying, you've been under my microscope for this time. And I've been watching how well you've been doing this, actually walking your talk.
Yeah. I think one of the other things too that's been a big thing for me the last year or so is um, forgiveness, and particularly forgiving myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all, I think one of you know, it's one of our blocks for all of us to our purpose is how we don't let go of things from the past. and I kept recognizing that the same things kept coming up and I wasn't letting go.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked through some exercises of forgiving other people from my past and forgiving myself. So all of those things, it's kind of like they're not directly related to your purpose, but as long as you're holding on to them, it's like something's got the
It's a
brakes
block.
on you.
It's a block.
Yeah, something's got its claws in you and it stops
Mm-hmm.
you from moving forward. And as soon as you can let that go, then you just spring forward. And it's remarkable, really. Yeah. And that's one of the things that, I talk about in my course, and also Sarah and I talk about in the Journey course, is the importance of letting go the past. Yeah, it's not just words. When you see all those things that all of us write on our Facebook pages about forgiveness and letting go, and they're massive, massive things to make a difference in
They are.
living your life well, being happy, being purposeful. It's amazing. And I
Mm-hmm.
really feel like this is somehow this time that we're living in is like, it's a particularly important time.
It is.
This whole thing of finding our purpose is a big thing at the moment in the world, and it's for everybody, but always, it seems to me, for some reason, it's especially true for women in our age group. And maybe that's just because those are the women that I talk to and those are the women that come to my page. But more than anyone, this is a
Me
group
too.
of people who are really wanting to be tuned into what they're here for.
That's what even I've noticed. And some are younger too. People who
Yeah,
come to me, they are most women, like especially the ones that you send, are always standing at the brink of something different and amazing that they have to do.
yeah,
And people are changing. They're shifting from that the mindset of, oh, I should just get a job, any job, just get a job so that it pays for everything. And even
yeah.
if they're unhappy, they used to stick to it. But now people are actually thinking about what makes them happy, what is it that their purpose is, and actually having faith and working on it.
Mm.
What do you
Yeah.
talk about? What do you think about patience? How much does patience have?
Well, patience has never been my forte at
Yeah.
all.
Hmm. But you did.
Um,
You were patient even then, because when did you create this course on purpose?
3 years ago.
3 years ago, and then it started. Now this year has been big for.
This year has been especially good, and it's almost as though when I created it, I didn't even realize how relevant it was for my purpose.
Hmm.
Funnily enough, I'm not quite sure. I can't even remember really my motivation for that. Except at that point, I think it sprang from this idea that I like talking to people about it. But I've learned so much since I started the course,
Hmm.
since I put that together, which was when the book resulted, because that was kind of like the next follow on of what I'd understood. And there's more kind of coming out
Yeah.
still, really.
So
Yes.
this is the year you published your book, and the course was made 3 years back. But this is the year when suddenly the floodgates opened up, and your
Yeah.
business really took off, and people realized what it was, and they started asking for it, and your Facebook page took off, and everything just got into place like pieces of puzzle,
It
just fell in
was
together.
It was like that. I know when I look back on it, I think, wow, that was kind of amazing. But I was just really clear that I was actually living it. I mean, I think that was another important thing I realized maybe a year ago too, and maybe it's kind of been there for a few years, is that finding your purpose and living it is actually in large part also about living a life of purpose now.
Hmm.
And that it, so as soon as you start looking for your purpose and wanting to clarify it and live it, you are living it. And if every day you're mindful of that, and and so somehow as soon as you start doing that, it really does start clicking into place. It's amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been so inspiring to watch this process. I don't know how many people I've told about you. I've told them about your story and how you clarified your purpose for yourself and how you stuck to it. And now it's actually happening. You've quit your job. You're earning much more than what you earned in your job, and not through any stressful means. You've created a beautiful course which is very helpful to people,
Yeah.
and you just put the link on your posters, on your Facebook posters. You don't
Yeah.
even do any special marketing for it.
No.
Yeah, I don't see you going out and putting any ads or stressing over it or sending out newsletters, or I don't know. I haven't seen you
I
do
do a little
anything
bit
but
of
put
that.
links there.
I do a little bit of that, but yeah, I mean, it is really all about the Facebook page, and
Yeah.
it's not that I use the Facebook page as a means to an end. I mean,
No.
it's an end in itself, and I love what I
You've
do.
been working on it for a while, even before you started putting the link in. It
Yeah,
was mostly about connecting people and inspiration, talking
yeah,
about what
yeah,
you believe in, gratitude, letting go, forgiveness,
yeah. And I try
and a lot
to,
of humor.
yeah, I mean, I try to do things a bit differently because there's so many pages that inspirational pages that do say a lot of the same things, and I think it must get a bit. Yeah, I don't think page owners realise that there are tens of thousands of pages doing the same thing.
Hmm.
So I really try to say something different, be useful, and I definitely try to give everybody a good laugh every day because,
Yes.
and to be a bit irreverent, which of course offends some people, but you know, then I don't really care.
I think that's another important element in realizing your dreams is to stop being scared of what people are going to say or think.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something that I do easily on my Facebook page. I mean, for years I've been putting up things on my Facebook page and people would say, I would never, have the guts to put that on my
Yeah.
page. I would lose, 100 fans. And I said, well, sometimes I do. But, I gained 1,000
Yeah.
because people really enjoy that particular humor. They know that I'm not a rude person or a hateful person or a mean person. They know, that I'm a sincere person who, is just having fun with my life, and that's people enjoy that.
Mhm.
It's an energy that people like, and we all like that. We like to be around that kind of energy. It helps us all through our
It
day.
does.
You
Humor
know,
is actually a very high vibration emotion. It's pretty high
That's it.
and very healing.
Yeah. Well, my
So,
son is a comedian, so
well, I would expect that from your son.
yeah, it does seem to run in the family somehow. Yeah, it's great. I love it. It's a great way to live. We have to have fun. We have to laugh,
So,
and we
this
have to
last
laugh at
bit,
ourselves. We have to be really prepared
yeah,
to laugh at ourselves.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That is a given. You've got to be able to laugh at yourself. Otherwise, I don't know how much stress can you accumulate from that.
yeah,
Because we will end up doing many silly things, many stupid things. And if you get upset over it, well, then you've got a whole lifetime to be upset about.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The other thing, the last bit of your dream, the one first part was clarifying what the purpose was, then having an online business so that you can be free and to quit your job and
yeah,
earn enough so that you'll be totally self sufficient and earn enough to be able to travel all over the world. So the travel part is going to start again now with
yeah.
absolutely no problems with money now because you've saved a lot, you've cleared all your debt, you are really free. And when are you starting the traveling?
So we going to have a little bit of summer here in New Zealand, and then Ruby and I both leave on the 4th of February.
Yeah.
Um, we actually fly out of New Zealand at 25 minutes apart from each other because she is flying to Brazil,
Hmm.
which she loves. She has friends there. And then I am flying to San Francisco to meet you.
Yeah.
And then
I'm looking forward to
I
that.
I know. So am I. And then there's various other things happening through February and March. And then Ruby and I meet up in New York at the beginning of March.
Hmm.
She's an artist, so she wants to see all of the big museums and art galleries. And then I'm not quite sure. At some point we'll be heading to London um, briefly, I think, and then we really want to go to Italy and Greece. And then at some
Awesome.
point, I know, and then at some point we'll get back to Scotland, which is a particular goal for both of
I
us.
know Scotland is.
Me in particular, Scotland is somehow my spiritual home. I
Yes.
just have this great love of Scotland, and
Yeah.
Ruby will probably turn 18 in Scotland. She gets to be able to work in the UK for a couple of years because there's an arrangement between New Zealand and the UK. So she'll be doing that. I'm going to try and see if I can do my PhD in Scotland, but
Scotland.
we'll see.
Isn't that amazing? So many people actually get scared when they think of going for further training or more education. Then they think maybe it's too late now. My kids are already they are almost settled. It's really too late. It's never too late, is it?
No. I mean, I'm 53 next month, and so if I start a PhD in a year, I'll be hitting 60 by the time I finish. But I'll be hitting 60 anyway, as somebody said to me.
Anyways,
So I
yeah,
might as well do it with a PhD.
exactly. Might as well do it with the PhD.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how it all unfolds. It's completely open-ended. We have no fixed plans, but we have some ideas of the things we want to do. Ruby would really like to go to art school in the UK, probably in Edinburgh. And so, yeah, I mean, it's all very exciting. And we're both really happy that we're
It is. It
doing
is
the
very
things that we want
exciting.
to do.
And
Yeah,
how cool is it? How cool is it that you'll be doing all this, traveling to all these places? Sounds
yeah,
like so much fun, but most of the times when we think of traveling and vacationing, we're not thinking about earning or business work. But yours will just go on simultaneously. How easily streamlined. You will
yeah, yeah.
continue earning, continue vacationing, continue having fun.
Well, I mean, it's a few hours a day, obviously, that I work,
Yeah,
and I feel like it's really important work. Like I still think of myself as working. I'm just working, doing something that is
yeah.
absolutely, what I'm really supposed to be doing. Um, and also along the way, it's been really important to me that I support my children's
Hmm.
purpose. So, Ruby wants to be an artist, and traveling has been a big part of her goals. So, um, I've been able to help her fulfill that. My son is a comedian. He wants to be in the UK eventually. That it's this kind of a centre of comedy
Hmm.
for him to be in Dublin and London and Glasgow and Edinburgh. So he'll probably head that way in a year or so as well. So that's a really important part also of my purpose, is being a mother and supporting my children's purpose, because I really like them both. I think they're amazing, and my son makes people laugh, and my
Yeah.
daughter's going to make beautiful art, and
I've met your daughter and she's just a beautiful person. She's
she is.
so
She's
nice to have
beautiful.
around.
She is really lovely. She's quite special. She is. I
She
know
is.
I'm a mother, but she really is.
No, she is because I've stayed with her and she's so easy to have around. She's
Yeah,
she's so much pleasure. She even cooked us dinner one day. It was so much fun. She said, "I want to make dinner," so we went and got the things that she wanted, and she made everything. She cooked us yummy dinner.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that was really nice, and my dad enjoyed talking to her so much. Which
yeah,
was funny because there's always the problem with the accent, but he has a very heavy Indian accent. And so both of them, it was amazing how they understood each other, but they did.
yeah,
They did, and they talked.
yeah, yeah.
Ruby had so much patience sitting and talking so nicely. That it was really a very good experience. You are really lucky to have them as your kids. And
I
I'm sure
am.
they are lucky to have you as a mom.
I really got lucky there. Yeah, I really did. I really enjoy them
And
too.
of course, it's not just luck, it's also how you bring them up.
Yeah. Well, I think I mean, I made as many mistakes as others do, I'm sure, as well. They have their moments. They're not
Of course,
perfect. And
everybody.
neither
Nobody
am
is
I.
perfect. No one is perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pleased to see them making their way in the world. Yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
something about your purpose course because this all started off with you clarifying your own purpose and about helping other people find your purpose. So you have this course. How long is the course? Is it online or do people have to talk to you?
So it's all online. It's on my website at sufitzmorris.com/purpose.
Yeah.
Very easy. Um, and it's set up so that it's 10 days. There's 10 sections.
Hmm.
But actually what I find is that there's some days that people need to spend longer on because there's so much material that they really want to ponder on it, which is really good. It's the sort of thing you want to come back to again and again and again. There's different parts to it, obviously. There's 10 parts to it. There's 2 or 3 really important parts that I think are the most critical for finding your purpose. One is to really think about the messages that you give yourself. And so everybody plays their own head games. They all talk to themselves about, whether it's really loudly or not, we all talk to ourselves about how we're not good enough, or nobody likes us. So all those things, teenage angst and all those voices that teenagers hear, we still have them in our 40s and 50s. Yeah. And we need to learn to let those voices go. They're not really us. They're really something else that's operating independently. And we can actually sit back and watch them and go, well, I'm not going to think that. I'm going to go over here and think this. And so there's a whole way of training our brains to stop all of that mindless chit-chatter that goes on, that acts as an obstacle to us being able to live happy, fulfilled lives. So that's one of the biggest things, and we're just not taught as we grow up how to deal with that. We get mindlessly told all through school and our work lives to be positive, but no one really tells us how and or why or what that's about, or what. No one talks about the negative thinking and depth and what it is and how to identify it and how to let it go. So it's one of those inane things that we get told, be positive, but it's like that other inane thing that we get told is to love yourself. It's like, well, how do I do that?
Yes.
Like we tell teenagers when they're sort of upset and anxious about going to a party or something, and say, well, just be yourself. So, well, who am I?
Who am I?
Teenagers don't know the answer to that. So I got really specific about, all of those messages and give people some tools to deal with those, which everyone always finds very, very useful. That's like a real eye-opener for everybody. Another thing that's really critical is to learn to connect with with the universe, with the divine, with God, with whatever that thing is that you think of as being the creator, the bigger than yourself, the thing that you can connect to and find some source of inspiration from, or at least some quiet in your mind and soul. So I try to avoid putting too much language around that, because language is such a great divider. And people have, all different beliefs, and I don't want the course to be an obstacle to people regardless of their beliefs. So whether you believe in God or not, whether you're Christian or not, I hope that the course should sit comfortably with pretty much everyone. But you have to find some way to connect to that source, to divine source, to God, to the universe. And so there's some discussion about meditation and deep relaxation, which is vitally important, because it's when we connect more and more to that source that our purpose becomes clearer to us. So I do believe that, I personally believe we come into this world with a purpose. Not everyone needs to accept that, though, that's not a basis on which you have to understand the course. But the thing that I've come to understand is that because I think your purpose is there, it has to reveal itself to you. You have to free the obstacles in its way. It's not like you go out and find it. It's already there. It's like you have to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And so when we connect to that divine source, then one of the things that we're able to do is connect to the source of our purpose. We're much more able to connect to what our purpose is when we connect to that divine source, because our purpose is the expression of our soul. So we have an emotional self, we have a physical self, we have mental and sexual and intellectual selves, but we have a spiritual self. Now, whether you have a belief, whether you're an atheist or whether you believe in God and have some religious belief, I think that's irrelevant to accepting that we have a spiritual self.
Mm-hmm.
I think by definition, our spiritual self is something that's much bigger than just the combination of some emotional and mental self. And one of the simple everyday ways we experience our spiritual self is in nature. So you see a beautiful sunset and you're moved by that. To
Mm-hmm.
me, that's more than just an aesthetic experience,
Mm-hmm.
and more than just an emotional experience. We can have a spiritual experience from that. And when we meditate and relax deeply, we're having a spiritual experience. We're connecting to our own spiritual self.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, we're connecting to our purpose, because our purpose is the expression of our spiritual self. And we don't give enough attention to our spiritual self. Even often within religion, we don't always give a lot of attention to our spiritual self, because we're often caught up with ritual and dogma and rules. And it is definitely in deep prayer that we can have that connection, deep relaxation, deep meditation. So that's another really important part of the course. And then another thing that I just want to mention too, because it's one of the key obstacles that people always talk about, is money to being able to live their purpose. And so I talk about our relationship with money, and I think I have something in there from Catherine Yarborough actually about that also, because I think we need to understand that money is not something that's a bad thing, and it doesn't have to be the obstacle that we think it is. And a huge part of our luck, if you like, with money is about how we think about it. And we need to think about it differently. We need to feel okay about it. So, a lot of people who are liberally community-oriented, mindset have this. We can have this idea that money's a bit yuck.
Yes, many people do.
It's the root of all evil and all that kind of stuff. But it's about what you do with money.
Yeah.
People can be, people do bad things.
Yeah.
Money doesn't do bad things.
Money is just a tool.
It's just a tool.
You can do whatever you want with it. You can do so much good.
Yeah, and you'll never succeed if you're too envious of what other people have with money, or if you criticize other people for having money. That's one thing I learned. I was very judgmental about a lot of rich people who do bad things with their money. But it's not my business, It's not my business to worry about what other people do with money. My business is to have a positive relationship with money myself. So those are some of the key parts of the course.
It sounds really very interesting, and I really like it that it's so much of an inward journey too. And finding your purpose is an inward journey. It is discovering yourself in many ways. The other thing I really like is that, and pay attention everyone, she has made it so affordable. It's nothing that you have to pay a lot and nobody can afford. This is something I think anyone can afford. It's only $47, right? It's only $47. Anybody can get that. And you get so much. I've heard so many good reviews about your course. So many people buy it each week, and they have benefited so much from it. And I think this is the reason also why I wanted to talk about this, is because since my purpose is helping people be happier, I think one of the key elements of being happy is actually living a purposeful life and feeling very useful, feeling like you have done something in your life. And that is what is important to me. I think we've lost connection for a while, Sue. There. So there she is, and it's really, really very affordable. I hope you will all, if you have any doubts about your purpose, what your life purpose should be, I highly recommend her course. Go to her page and you'll find it anywhere. You'll find the link everywhere. It's very easy. Even if you forget the website, I know none of you will forget her Facebook page. You can go there and you'll find it. The other thing I want to talk about is your book. Then this year you also published a book on purpose. So how is that different from your from the course? How is it? What do you talk about over there?
So it is different from the course. It's very complementary to the course.
Mm-hmm.
But it's quite different. One of the things that I came to understand more clearly last year was what the aspects of purpose are. So the course is about trying to, discover your purpose. The book is about what purpose is, and what it means. And so there's some similarities, but it's kind of coming at it from a different angle. But it's also very useful. There's some how-tos in it, but it's not essentially a how-to book. But it's also very inspirational. It's not a huge book. Most people have been able to read it in a day or a weekend. And so far, everyone that I've heard from who's read it has said, I couldn't put it down, or, that
Maybe
kind
that's
of
another
thing.
reason
Which
if
is,
they
it's always the nicest feedback to have, is I couldn't put it down.
couldn't
But
put it down.
I think because it's even my father actually the
I
other day,
love that. I love
wonderful.
what your father said. Can you
My
tell
father
people
is
what you said?
80, and he's a relatively conservative kind of a man, as his generation is. And I'd given him a copy of the book a month or so ago, and I said, he came and had lunch with me, and I said, "Did you read my book, Dad?" And he said, "Yes, I did." And I said, "How did you like it?" He said, "Well, I found out a lot of things about you, so that was kind of interesting." And he said, "I'm going to read it again. It's given me a lot to think about, and I'm thinking I need to learn to meditate." And so I was blown away by that. So that was very cool for an 80-year-old man. Yeah, it was really special. So yeah, and my children, actually my son hasn't read it. My daughter's started reading it, but several of her friends at school have been reading it, and they keep saying, "Oh, your mum's so awesome." But I think it is really useful for that age group too, because of course that age group, and especially at the moment also, they're so wanting to do the thing that, a lot of them are
Mhm.
not wanting to do the things they're supposed to do, like go to
Yes,
university and get a job.
yes.
Really, especially Ruby and her friends anyway, they're really thinking about, what am I here for? What is going to
Mhm.
be meaningful for me? How
Mhm.
can I make a contribution? And I want to be happy. I don't want to be stuck doing something that I don't want to do.
Mhm.
Of course, there's some downsides of that too, because they don't understand that you've got to do your time, which we've all done, doing the shitty jobs,
Yes,
because you always learn something.
you
But
always learn something.
you always learn something. But yes, so it's really good for that age group as well. It's good for any age group, clearly, since my daughter and my father are both reading it.
I know, and your dad's testimonial to your book was the sweetest and the best, I think.
It blew me away.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that he would kind of get it,
yeah.
this sort of spiritual kind of conversation, and that, because he's not been especially a spiritual person.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was really, really lovely, really, really lovely. Yeah.
I will be giving a link to her purpose course below this in this article, and also a link to her book, so that you can take advantage of this and have a really good time reading the book. I've heard lots of good things. I still haven't read it, but I have talked to Sue so much.
How is it that you've not
I
read it?
know I have bought it, and I have yet not gonna come around to reading it, but I know how it will be because I know Sue. I know Sue, so I don't even I don't even have a doubt how the book is going to be.
Yeah.
So I am going to read it. I have it, and do take advantage of her course. It is only $47 after all, and there's a lot of information there. It is for 10 days. It is completely online, and it's self-paced, so you don't have to do it in 10 days. You can take your time. Some days will be faster, some days will be slower. Take your time. It's a self-discovery journey, and I hope to see many more examples like Sue after this.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think that everybody can, they can be living their purpose, living their dreams. Um, I used to often look at people like, that sold courses, and I think, well, that's a bit far out of my reach. But, in the end, it somehow wasn't that hard. Um, and I think I had a lot of help from people who are really amazing to give me key messages. I seem to have surrounded myself in the last year or two by some, incredibly powerful people who've brought great things into my life. Yourself, Sarah McCrum, who I've known for 10 years, a number of others. And I was looking for all of you, I think, and there you were. And I think that's the thing, is surround yourself by people who make a difference in your life.
That's key. That really is key. And that is what you do in my life too.
Oh,
In fact, and it really is your story. I like it so much, and what you have done. If ever I get down, these are, you know, how we were talking about retraining your thoughts on how to think of happy things. So you are one of my happy things to think of. So if things get me down, if I find myself thinking of something negative, I think about, or giving up. Sometimes there are times when you want to just give up and, oh, I can't do this. And at that time, I think of how you did it. And it was, even through your struggles and everything, I still feel you carried it with a lot of ease and grace, the whole thing. I like that a lot. So
wow.
you are one of the happy things I think about.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, you know, I have my own moments where I think, oh, you know, and yeah, and I know you do too, and I know that you also respond with great humour to your own, you know, sometimes misery. It's like, oh my gosh, like I know you had some ill health earlier on, but you responded with humour, and it's incredibly healing. And I try and do that and laugh at myself, and yeah,
Humor really
definitely
is, it's powerful. It is very powerful in healing. Some people think it's frivolous. It's not. It is
no,
very powerful. It's a very powerful tool to heal your mind, emotions, body,
mm,
everything.
yeah, and definitely don't waste time getting offended by things. It's
No,
really
seriously, a big waste of time.
big waste of
I
time.
love the poster you recently made with the toad or the frog that was saying,
Oh yeah,
I saw a poster, Facebook, something on Facebook that offended me, and I did nothing about it. And I just went on
yeah,
with my day.
and I just ignored it and went on with my life. That's
Yes. Yeah, because that's what I do. And when I see people not doing that, I wonder why. Why are they even bothering? If you don't like it, ignore
yeah.
it, let it be. How is it anyway affecting you? Leave it.
Well, and I think one of the other things that there's another poster I did a few years ago, which has also been really popular, which is don't be offended by Facebook posts and by strangers kissing in the street and something else. Be offended by world poverty, war, and those kinds of things. Though we should be offended by those things.
Yes.
And it's about, you know, getting it right. It's like, yeah, I am offended by the Syrian refugee problem.
Hmm.
You know, more than half that population have
Hmm.
left.
Yeah.
More than half of Syria's population have left
Hmm.
Syria.
Hmm.
You know, I am offended by Israel bombing Palestine. That'll upset a few people just saying that. I'm offended by politicians giving tax cuts to billionaires. I'm offended by that. When
Hmm.
people are starving and children go to school hungry and without shoes in
Yes.
the same country, I'm offended by that. So get offended by the things that matter. Don't get offended by a Facebook post or by two men kissing each other,
Yeah.
or, you know, it's like, get over yourself, please.
Yes.
Now I've already upset a few more people already, but they should be upset.
Maybe that's your purpose.
Well, it's one of the things I have to try to suppress about myself sometimes, is getting too political. Not in a sense between a kind of left and right, so, although it's probably fairly obvious where my politics are, but yeah, I mean, I'm concerned about poverty and
Yes.
war. I really am, and I always have been since I was a child. I'm sure I've been a politician in other lives. I don't
But you
think
know,
I'm
this
cut
thing
out for it in
about
this one.
poverty or being offended by poverty, you're actually doing something to end that, because you're helping people realize their purpose and live it. When they
Mm.
do it, the more people do that, the more this poverty situation is going to go, because
It's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's amazing. And, you know, a lot of people I talk to, they want to live their purpose, but they are actually in really almost poverty. You know, they struggle financially.
Mhm.
And it's a really hard step to take. But if you start moving towards your purpose, even in the smallest ways, regardless of how difficult your situation is right now, the more you live your purpose, the less you will be poor,
Yes.
because those things come together. the universe is designed to bring us abundance, and we need to connect with that abundance. And one of the ways we connect with it is by living a life of purpose. And if you live purposefully, even if you haven't got quite clear what your purpose is, if you take the steps every day, if you connect to that source, if you try to adjust your own thinking, if you try to adjust your attitude towards money from I don't have any to it's all sitting there waiting for me, I just need to connect to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it can seem ridiculous when you first start doing all of those myriad little things, but I promise you that if you keep doing it, they will come. They will come.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time.
It just is a matter of time. And though you say that patience is not one of your virtues, I have seen you be very patient, very, very patient with your business. And you have waited, and it didn't just happen like today you created the course and tomorrow people were beating down your door. It didn't
Yeah.
happen that way. You did have patience and you stuck to it.
Yeah.
That is what people need to remember, not to give up and not expect sudden success in one day. It happens sometimes to people, but mostly it's with patience and perseverance and sticking to your goal and not wavering from it, which you did.
I had huge faith in what my purpose was.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain point, I mean, it's been becoming clearer and clearer for me for some years, but in the last year to 18 months, when it became infinitely clearer than it had been prior to that, I had incredible faith in that. I mean, I just was really living it from that point on. It's like, oh, okay, that's why I'm here. Well, it'll just happen now. I just keep working on it every day. I do a bit more, and it will come.
I saw that happening.
Yeah, and a lot of that was from, my angel reading with you. That really clarified things.
Thank you.
Oh, it was really true.
Yeah. I saw how you the step-by-step process, and you even the first step was you're enjoying your work with Facebook, just doing your Facebook page and helping people, inspiring them through that. And that in the beginning you didn't even think of it as business. It was just
fun.
It's just partly how you even now it is more about inspiring people and getting people together. And you worked on it tirelessly. If you didn't think, what am I getting back in return in this? You just kept doing it because you enjoy doing it. And
I think I'm a complete social media addict, really. And I think, I'm the child that my children aren't. That they tell me to get off my computer, Mum.
Yeah.
That's what the parent's supposed to say to the child.
Yes.
But there was a certain point at which, because they would get, especially Ruby, would get really sick of me being on my computer. And there was a point at which she realized that there was great benefit to me being on my computer. So she stopped saying quite so much. She said, oh, you're actually making money. That's good. That's good for me. That
you're making money. Yeah.
It's a high standard of living, She likes to live well, Ruby. She must have been a queen.
Yeah.
But I've always really loved Facebook, and I sit there and I chat, and I know people think it's not a real world, but to me it's a very real world. And you and I have never met, but you wouldn't know that because I feel like we've met, and there are many other people who I have actually met physically in this lifetime. Who I met.
You're gonna meet soon.
Yeah, I mean, hundreds of people all over. Well, I haven't met hundreds. I've met up to 100 actual people that I met online, all over.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots in Britain, lots in Scotland, where I love, of course. I've met you. I've met who else have I met? I've met Catherine Yarborough. I've met I've met Carmen. From Paying It Forward One Day at a Time. I've met Karen Dudarovich from Focus on Insight. I've met Fiona Childs. She's hilariously funny. I've met Heather McCloskey-Beck, who is hilariously funny. In fact, those two together are a complete riot. I met Di Riseborough. I love these women. I just love them. They're like, when I first met them, they were like the sisters I'd always had. They're best friends that I'd never met yet, and have had the most wonderful time with them. Margaret Painter, from Life's a Dance. I've
Mhm.
stayed with Margaret at her house in Connecticut. Laurel from Laurel Bleeden Maffei. Is that how you say her last name?
Hi. I always just call her Laurel, so I don't know. Laurel,
Laurel.
maybe he'll be
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
tell us.
yeah. So I feel very, very fortunate. Very, very fortunate to have
Yeah,
such
I
wonderful
saw
family.
when I met you for the first time in 2013. At that time, I think you were starting to change the focus of your Facebook page. And I didn't see you complaining even once that it's not taking off or it's not doing well. What do I do? Getting stressed about it. You just kept trying different things and what worked for you. And you
Yeah,
kept doing it. I didn't see you complain even once. I didn't see you get upset about it. You keep saying you don't have patience, but I've seen you exhibit so much patience. Not even once did you give up. I'm making these posters, but nobody's seeing it and nobody's responding. I made this course, but nobody's buying it. Never, never did I hear you. And I have talked a lot with you, so it's not that I didn't have an opportunity to hear. So, but
yeah.
you
That's
never.
not something I've complained about. Yeah,
Yeah,
um,
you never
you know,
complained
I
about
don't
it.
complain about my Facebook page,
No,
especially. I
you haven't.
complain
Not
a
even
little bit
about your
about.
business. I haven't
I
heard you
complain
even
a little bit about Facebook sometimes.
Facebook, but not your page. And I haven't
No,
seen you complain about the business. You know how most people
no,
get very
I'm
scared
just
about it.
amazed that it's there. I still am kind of in awe of the whole thing, really, and how it all works to my benefit. It's like, this is fantastic. I love this.
You know, in the beginning, many people get very flustered, and it can be frustrating in the beginning.
Mm,
And when you're seeing you put in so much effort at the beginning, and there's hardly any returns, and it takes time.
mm,
Not once did I hear you say, I'm not seeing any results. Maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Run from one thing to the other. You did not. You stayed
no,
calm
I've
and you
never
did it.
done that. Yeah,
I
I've never
haven't
done
seen you
that.
complain.
Yeah. No, I've never done that. I've always stuck because I think it was also, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know why I stuck with it. I don't know. I
I
love
really
doing
liked
that.
it. I really like that. And that is one of the main things I would like whoever is listening to this to take from this is no, don't complain about it. Stay in gratitude. Once you figure out what your purpose is, just stick to it. And it will happen. Just stick to it. Keep doing your work. Keep plugging in. Keep working.
Mhm,
There was a time when Sue completely disappeared. We used to talk a lot, and then she was writing her book, and she really focused on writing her book. She takes the time, just take the time every day to work on your thing, and it will take time, but it works. And
mhm.
she is the proof it works. It does work. So thank you so much, Sue, for taking the time for discussing your story. You know, I've been itching to do this for a while to
Thank
get the
you.
whole story out of you
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to get our timings together to get this interview done. Finally, today I said, no, today it has to be done. And that's why I put it in our group, in my weekly schedule. This week, I am going to get this interview done. So I got this done, and the link, once again, the link to her purpose course will be below in this article, and so will the link to her book. So, and if you have any questions, head over to her page and ask her. Ask her. She'll be there. She'll tell you everything about it. Thank you, Sue, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in February.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks, Swati.
Thank you.
Bye.